Danny, why did you trade Rondo? Was it because you didn't think you could re-sign him, or you thought he wanted to leave, or wasn't worth the money, or just why?
Yeah, there was definite uncertainty into what may happen this summer, so that was a big factor. You know, we like the players that we got in the trade, but you know, listen, I think that with his impending free agent and the uncertainty of what may happen this summer, I think that there was gave us the impetus of wanting to do a deal.
How long had you been speaking with the Mavericks about this trade? Was it something that happened quickly, or did it develop over time?
Pretty quickly, yeah, a few days. I mean, I would say, you know, like in lots of these deals, you know, we have had conversations in the past about a couple of the players that we acquired, you know, unsuccessfully in the past, but just this specific trade, just the last few days.
Danny, you trade your best player. Does this, one, take the rebuild back to square one? And two, what do you say to fans who believe that now you guys are not going to field a competitive team? Or what do you think about this team now that you're currently fielding?
Well, you know, I respect the opinions of fans that feel that way. I mean, Rajon was a terrific player, and I enjoyed watching Rajon for the last 9 years, and so I respect that opinion. But you know, time will tell. It's just that simple. I mean, none of us can predict what's going to happen, but we'll see what these players are, and we'll see how they fit in with our system, and we'll see how players that get opportunities more will play, and time will tell. But you know, like we clearly gave up the best player in this deal, and that's not philosophically what we'd like to do.
Do you think the rebuild is back a few steps?
I don't see it that way, no. Listen, I think we have a lot of cap space this summer, which the Celtics have never had, and we have a trade exception, a big trade exception, and we have draft picks, and we have a lot of good young players that are attractive to other teams. And so our perspective is always to, and our plan is always to develop through the draft, because that's what we can control, who we draft and with our draft picks, and who we sign with free agent dollars and so forth. And as far as trades, you know, we just have to be ready to have assets to trade and stay opportunistic and make good decisions with those with our assets.
Danny, how difficult was it to let go of Rajon after letting go Pierce and Garnett? Was this kind of the final hurrah for the big three era, and how difficult was that decision for you?
It was hard. Yeah, it was very difficult to move Rajon. You know, I know that it's a business and in professional sports, but you really develop a lot of close relationships. And I loved watching Rajon. I loved visiting with him. Our one-on-one conversations were fun, entertaining, frustrating sometimes, and always a surprise. I mean, the guy was a very unique person, and but watching him grow and watching him develop as a man and as a person and as a basketball player, you know, I just enjoyed my interactions with him. And so, yeah, it was an emotional time as we met last night. It was not an easy thing to do, but I believe it was the right thing to do.
What were your conversations like with him throughout the phone calls and the trade process?
Well, you know, so Rajon and I have talked a lot about these trade discussions in the past. There wasn't a lot of talk between us as this one was happening. It was kept fairly quiet until you know, yesterday afternoon, and it started getting out as other teams were involved and sort of went out. I think that there were some leaks, but I think I didn't have a chance to talk to him last night until maybe 5 o'clock, 4:30 or 5, and then he drove over to the office in Waltham. He didn't want to do it in traffic, so about 7:30 we met, and I shared with him how much I appreciated, you know, all he has done for us, and you know, how much I enjoyed our relationship, and I was rooting for him, and you know, and I think that like Paul and KG, who when they were traded, they were going to what everybody thought was a really special opportunity. And I don't think any fault of their own. It didn't turn out like they hoped, but I think they were enthusiastic and excited. And I think Rajon hasn't gotten to that point yet, but I think he should be excited. I think he should be enthusiastic about the opportunity that he's going to. And it makes me feel a little better. You know, we have to do what's best for the Celtics, but it is at the same time a great opportunity for him, and I think he appreciates that, you know, he's getting a chance to go to a terrific opportunity.
Danny, you said there was some uncertainty involving Rondo's future here with you. How long did you have that uncertainty, and at what point did you realize that you had to trade him?
Oh, I think that there's been uncertainty for a while, you know, as to what kind of team we'd be able to put together. We tried this summer to get some, you know, significant players in unsuccessfully, and you know, there's a price that, you know, we won't go either, that we won't pay for any player. And I mean, like in order to make that happen this past summer. At the same time, there's been uncertainty as to sort of what his future would be, and there's been uncertainty as to how he would return and how he'd come back and play. And yeah, I think that he's understood that, and I've understood that, and we've talked about it.
Was there a time when you said to yourself or to people around you that we need to trade him? At what point, like recently, or was this something that over the summer once you couldn't get a certain player?
No, I think that you know, we were trying to see how it all fit, you know, just seeing what kind of player he was, and then it all depended on if we had an offer that was good enough to do it, and then the timing of it. If you choose to make a trade, is this the best time to make a trade? And so all those things were well thought out, and we feel like we have a really good pulse of, you know, most of our players' value on the market, and we thought this was the time and the place.
Danny, obviously you've worked hard to acquire a ton of picks over the past couple of seasons. Why do you put so much value in those, and not only first round but also second round picks?
Just because they're always tradable. You know, they're always, if you know, and getting draft picks is most of the best players that you acquire generally, and by most teams, is through the draft. And so we plan on developing players and drafting well, and developing those guys into good players, championship caliber players, or assets.
And then secondly, can you just touch on the players that you brought in this trade and what they bring to this roster?
Right. So I know a lot of you aren't real familiar with the players that we brought in, but I mean, like I said earlier, Jae Crowder, Brandan Wright, as an example, are two players that we've tried to acquire in the past. Thought they were undervalued players in the minutes and their contributions so far, and you know, time will tell if we were right or wrong on that. But we really like them, and think they fit into you know, a good team in a rotation role. Jameer, you know, we haven't tried to acquire Jameer just because we've, you know, had the point guard position pretty set. He's been a starter for 11 years in an NBA Finals team, and been a terrific opponent against us, and a guy that we've really respected. But a great high character guy that can shoot, and has great leadership qualities. So we're excited about all three of them.
Danny, when you drafted Marcus, was this scenario a major factor in drafting him? Do you think when he gets healthy, he'll be ready to take over the role?
Well, you know, because Marcus, I don't think is healthy right now. I mean, 100%. And because he's 20 years old, and he's not what I would classify as a born point guard offensively. He's a terrific defensive player, and he has some point guard skills, and I think that he's going to continue to improve. But no, just automatically drafting Marcus did not make this inevitable. We think that Marcus and Rajon and Marcus and Avery and Phil and Marcus and, you know, Evan and Marcus can all play together. Marcus is a basketball player that can play with or without the ball.
Just also, when you accumulate all these draft picks, is it more for a goal to try to package them to move up in the draft, or to use them as kickers to entice a trade?
Both. All of the above.
Danny, you know, given the caliber of player that Rondo is, was it tough in a sense of the trade market you're doing with the fact that point guard is just such a deep position, and given Rondo's contract situation, the market wasn't as, you know, active as you might have expected? Right.
Well, you know, you would expect that, you know, half, maybe a third of the teams in the league, you know, wouldn't want to acquire a player of Rajon's stature, you know, when they're not, maybe not, a goal isn't a championship. I think that the top 10 or 12 teams in the league with a realistic opportunity to win a championship would be the ones that would be interested in acquiring a player such as Rajon at this time. And you know, if you look around the team, this might have been the only one that didn't have what I would classify a consideration for an all-star type guard. I mean, every good team has this level of point guard.
Was it tempting at all just to wait a little longer to see what else materialized in the trade market, or was this? Did you kind of survey it and just kind of
the timing and the market was well thought through and calculated. You never know what may be available, but I think we had a pretty good feel for you know, the players or the teams that had interest and consistent interest over time, and you know, we thought all that through, timing and deals.
Danny, now do you look at moving some of your other potential free agents, Brandon Bass and Jeff Green, since Rondo is no longer on this team, and it seems like maybe you're going in a little different direction?
Well, you know, let's take a deep breath and let's enjoy the holidays, and let's let these guys play, see how everybody fits in. But you know, of course, we're not actively pursuing anything at this minute. You know, I anticipate that there will be a lot of calls coming in the next little bit. And you know, I think that there will be some activity at trade deadline. Whether we do a trade or not, I have no idea, but we'll continue to try to improve our team.